That's right, we're talking to Matthew Berry right now about Kenyan Drake. Intro. Top 5 running back.
You're watching the Fantasy Football Show.
Take a lap. Okay, we're joined by Matthew Berry, the GOAT himself of fantasy football. Matthew Berry, I appreciate you coming on the Fantasy Football Show. Welcome.
Thank you, my friend.
Let's get into some fantasy football.
Sure.
Kenyan Drake is one of my biggest breakout candidates for 2020. This is the Dalvin Cook of 2020, and I can say that because his ADP is in the second round, much like Dalvin Cook's was, and I feel like the writing's on the wall. The top 5 running back numbers are in the cards. He had, if you look at weeks 9 through 17 when the Cardinals acquired him, he was, depending on your scoring, 4 or 5 for running backs in 2019. That's huge. And then he had 363 yards and 7 TDs in his final 3 games. Now, this isn't smart math, but if you extrapolate that, that's like 1,900 yards and 37 TDs. I'm not saying he's going to come close to that. That's not good math.
That's good.
But
right.
But that shows that this guy is coming out of 2019 on fire with momentum. The Cardinals wanted him. They're maturing. They acquired DeAndre Hopkins, who's going to stretch the field and make it virtually impossible for defenses to really focus on Kenyan Drake all year long with Kyler Murray moving around. What am I missing aside from injury that could keep him out of the top 5, top 6 running backs?
It's just it's lack of a track record. I don't have him as a top 5 guy the way you do, but I certainly listen. I think I have Kenyan Drake as an RB1, a lower end RB1. There's no question about it. You talk about what he did since he joined Arizona last year in week 9, averaged 18.9 touches a game, so the volume was there. Averaged over 100 scrimmage yards per game, 19.9 fantasy points per game in ESPN scoring, which was third most among running backs. He played on 79% of snaps. That's the other thing, is he wasn't coming off the field, right? And to your point about, we know how much Cliff Kingsbury likes to throw the ball. He averaged 4.9 targets a game. That was 10th most among running backs. So he's basically getting 5 targets a game. And that was, just showing up and like, oh, by the way, here's the playbook. Hey, you might want to look at a couple of pages. Now he comes in the season knowing he's the guy. David Johnson's been moved to Houston. Chase Edmonds is a backup. They like him, but it's going to be Kenyan Drake. There's no question about it. So I think it's track record and injury history are the only concerns there, right? We just haven't seen him do it for a sustained period of time. It's not like he's a rookie. He's been in the league for a while. And he's a guy that, here's the other thing, is that he's never been a feature back in his NFL career. He was from week 9 on last year, but he wasn't at Alabama, and he never was at Miami under 2 different regimes, right? I mean, he had, sort of 2 different, wasn't under Brian Flores, wasn't under Adam Gase. No one has ever looked at Kenyan Drake and said, yeah, you're a workhorse. Why is that? We don't know. He was last year from week 9 on, and they've paid him. So the expectation certainly is he's going to be there. But because of the injury history, because of, his body build, do we think maybe he doesn't get 19 touches a game because they don't need to manufacture as much offense because they've added DeAndre Hopkins, because Christian Kirk is healthy again this year. We expect that. Larry Fitzgerald is back. We hope for more from Andy Isabella in year 2. Maybe they get something out of Hakeem Butler, right, who was injured all of last year as well. So that's the argument, right? And it's a loose one. It's not a great one,
right.
But that's the loose anti-Kenyan Drake top 5 argument.
But what I love about his value is that this was the same argument we got at Dalvin Cook last year.
Sure.
And yet Kenyan Drake isn't being valued in a dangerous range where that becomes a concern. I feel like all the risk is baked into his 15, 18 overall value. So am I asking anybody to go draft him at number 5? No, I'm saying this is Dalvin Cook of 2020. And I honestly think that it reminds me a lot of Arian Foster in 2010, which, they play a little different. He's like a Kamara-Foster hybrid. But this feels like, okay, you don't have a big track record, but he passes the eye test to an extreme degree. And he's in an environment that if he's not hurt, I don't know how he doesn't get top 5 to 10 running back numbers. So
the other piece of that here that I'll just mention to you is that I don't think what people appreciate about the Cardinals offense and what Kingsbury runs is that when they go 4 wide the way they do, like they purposely let in pressure, right? I mean, so when going 4 wide, you've got one less offensive lineman or one less blocker in essence, right? Mm-hmm. And so you're dropping back and you're letting pressure come. So it's easy to you're quickly dropping off to your pass catching running back, right? And so it's something that sort of it's one of the reasons why Murray was so key for them, because you need an athletic quarterback in that particular offense. I totally buy the argument. I agree with you that the risk is baked in, and he could be, that offense could be special. That offense could be very special.
And I love Chase Edmonds a lot too. You pair him with Edmonds, locked and loaded. Kyler Murray, what are your thoughts on Kyler Murray now that he gets DeAndre Hopkins, top 5 running back?
You're watching the Fantasy Football Show.
Take a lap.